Hello, hello, hello. What's up, everyone? How's it going? Happy Sunday morning. Let's move around. Let's get some mobility in. Heck yeah, stretch it out today. Hello, hello. All right. Today's going to be a little bit like Tuesday and Thursday and some of those first videos that I did. Just kind of move around for an hour. After Friday and yesterday, I'm probably not going to lift today. So today is just going to be a good recovery day, get my movement in, get all my mobility in. We're going to, we will do some little bit of band work. If you have some bands, we'll do some light core, hip, shoulder work. So it's not just going to be all stretching and everything, but it's more just going to be movement and recovery based, feeling good. Getting a light sweat in. And then if you want to today, you can choose to go do something else. If you outside doesn't look great today, but if you want to get out and about and hike, walk, run, awesome. You got a cardio machine, great. If you have not, if you've only lifted once or maybe twice in the last week, get a lift in today. We have all those workouts on the page, the live ones with me, the ones Derek's been posting. We have the units and the files section, so don't forget to go in there on that group page, click in there, it'll take you to a bunch of stuff. So much content. Can't remember if I said though, first couple minutes, foam rolling. If you have a foam roller. I got a little spiky ball under my feet for now. So roll around, hit some stuff, glutes, hip flexors in the front, above your knees on the inside and the outside, calves and Achilles on the back side, upper back, lats, all good ideas. 20 to 30 seconds each spot over the next couple minutes. My hips are definitely a little bit sore after yesterday. Hello. For anyone who has joined, hello.
I have 2 minutes left on the rolling. Hit a couple spots. Go slow.
Try and find some of those problem areas that you have. Remember, sore, tender spots are what we're looking for.
Give you guys about a minute to wrap up any good spots.
After you wrap that up, we'll get into some breathing and some rolling here in a little bit. I'm just going to quickly hit one more spot. If you have a long foam roller, try and keep that thing around. Might do some exercises with it. Or even a short foam roller. Okay. So if you have like couch, a chair, a wall you can put your feet up on, we're going to do some breathing on our back to start. If you don't have anything, like that set up, just go child's pose or on your stomach or even on your backs, just with your legs on the ground. Okay, but if you have something to elevate your feet up on, get your legs at 90 degrees. Okay,
tuck your hips and bring your ribs down. So kind of pull everything under so your lower back goes into that ground and just kind of lock it in there. You don't need to brace super hard or anything. Okay? Lightly pull your heels down so you just feel your hamstrings going a little bit. And then take big breaths while you hold that position, while your low back stays down, while your hamstrings stay a little bit on. Inhale through your nose. Fully exhale out of your mouth. Fill up your sides. Fill up your low back. Fill up your low belly, ribs, everything getting big. 360 degrees. 3 to 4 seconds in. 6 to 8 seconds out. Good. Finish that breath up that you're on. And then we're going to go into child's pose, and we're going to do the same thing with our breathing.
Okay, so just take a nice big breaths now on the breaths. I want you to pause for anywhere up from 1 second to up to 5 seconds or so in between your inhales and your exhales. So it's going to be that big 3 to 4 seconds in. It's going to be a hold. And then it's going to be a nice long exhale, all your air out. Hold it for a second or two, and then do that again. Okay, so instead of constant in and out, think in, hold, out, hold. Okay? But don't hold it so long that you freak yourself out. Good. Finish that breath up and that you're on. And then we'll kind of get moving. I wanted to spend a little extra time on breathing today. Super important for our stress levels, our mobility, just everything in general, especially in these stressful times. Breathing is going to really help you. Okay, so let's get some slow segmental cat-cows in. So those are the ones where you're trying to go one vertebrae at a time. Okay, we've been doing these all week if you've been joining class. Okay, the goal is, instead of just going straight up and down in that cat-cow, you're trying to move one of your little vertebrae at a time, like there's a wave going through your spine. Okay, so you're going to try and start by moving your pelvis, then move up into your mid-back and your upper back, and then move your head and your chin last is the goal. Okay, so nice and slow,
Like a wave going through the spine.
it's kind of weird, but as long as you end up in that big
Full range of motion each way. For now, that's kind of the biggest thing that matters.
Good, and then just kind of sit up and we're going to do the shoulder blades and then the neck. Okay, so on the shoulder blades, hands by your side, we're going to do shoulder blade cars, that is, sorry. Okay, so we're going to hit some of our cars first to get the joints kind of warmed up, see how we're feeling, lubricate the joints a little bit before we get stretching and kind of getting a little more active. Okay, so hands glued by your side. Your shoulder blades, you're basically just doing that big shoulder roll where your shoulder blades are trying to draw a square. So I'm going to go up, forward, down, and back, and then repeat up, forward, down, and back. Nice and slow. Hit all those spots. Make sure your hands stay by your sides and they don't roll to the front or the back of your thighs. And that your elbows stay straight. And then reverse directions. So now you're going to go forward, up, back, down, forward, up, back, down. Just nice and slow. Abs braced a little bit. Good. Awesome. Cool, now we're going to get some neck cars in, all right? So the neck cars are go slow on these, very slow, always slow on a car, especially the neck. If you feel any weird pinching points or anything, make the circle smaller and go slower to avoid pain. You're going to think about what your chin is doing, okay? Your chin's going to drop down to your sternum first. It's going to drag along your collarbone to get as far as it can to the shoulder. Then lift all the way, full extension. Bring your chin all the way to the other shoulder. Drag it along that collarbone down to the sternum. And it might not touch the sternum or the collarbone. That's just kind of your cue. Pull it towards there. Okay, and then reverse the circle. So chin down. Drag it along the collarbone. Up to the shoulder. Full extension. All the way to the other shoulder. Drag it along the collarbone. Reverse. Nice and slow. We're going to get a couple each direction. Squeeze your fists by your side. Brace your belly a little bit. Don't let your shoulders lift towards your chin. Okay, chin, the neck should be the only thing that's moving. Good, okay, next up we're going to hit the wrists, okay? So you can stand, kneel, whatever's comfortable, okay? I'm going to do both wrists at a time, but if you want to hold one so you get some feedback, you can. Okay, I'm going to show you holding for now because I want most of you to probably do that. You're going to hold your forearm, and then you're going to do nice, big, slow circles with your hands staying open and not letting it bend around. You're trying to just move from that wrist, and you're trying to not let your forearm move. So just start going one direction. Hold that forearm, try to not let it turn like you have a glass of water or a phone resting on top of your forearm. You should get a little burn going here. This one's humbling. You're probably not going to have a huge range of motion. Your forearm's going to want to twist everywhere. Change direction on that same side. Basically, if you look at your wrist, you're trying to separate the movement from the wrist down your forearm. Nothing should move. Okay, your hand should be the only thing that is moving. So from the wrist up, that hand is moving. All right, shake it out, switch sides. Okay, I might as well just do one at a time with you guys. Okay, it's a little bit easier to focus on one. Doesn't matter if I'm showing from the side. If you watch my forearm is staying perfectly still. It's just my hand going. I have a pretty good range of motion here because I've been doing this for a very long time, but I started really small, forearm moving everywhere, so don't force it, even if it's the smallest thing ever. Okay, if you already have like arthritis or history of arthritis, okay, this is probably going to be really small, but very good for you. If you sit and type all day or like are on your phone all day for work, okay, change direction. I can't remember if I said that, but change direction. But if you're on your phone or typing all day, it's going to be small and probably bad too. You need to do these, okay, to keep everything pretty healthy. You should feel a nice little burn going through, all right? So now we're going to go into hip cars. So on these, I want you to count your own, and I want you to do 3 forward and 3 backwards each direction. So on the hip cars, if you know what you're doing, go for it, okay? But on the hip cars, arms strong. Don't let your elbows bend at any point, okay? And then you're just going to extend your leg, wrap that knee up and around to your elbow, bring it back to starting position, and then repeat. Back, up to the side, around to your elbow, and down without letting your hips hike up in the air. Okay, so if you're watching me from the front, I'm not letting my weight shift. Pretend like I got a glass of water on the back. So get 3 forward, 3 backwards. When you're going in reverse, you're starting by coming to the elbow, lifting to the side, and then wrapping that knee all the way around, resetting. Forward, up to the side, around to the back. Okay, if you haven't already switch sides, or just make sure you get your 3 aside, about 30 to 40 seconds left. Keep those arms strong, glass of water on your back. Try and fight for a little bit more range of motion every repetition. See if you can't warm that joint up, expand the circle. After you get your 3rd, take a seat. We'll hit the ankles real quick. So the ankles, hold your shin, okay? And then draw a nice big circle with your foot. This is kind of like the wrist, all right? We're holding our shin or our forearm, okay? And then we're trying to keep that still while the toes and the feet draw big circles. Okay, nice and slow. Just pick a direction. I'll let you know when to switch. But you're going to get about 3 to 5 aside. Switch sides. It's easy to go through the motions on this one. You should feel some like crunching and some cracking in the joint there, and that's totally fine as long as there's no pain. But work that joint nice and slow. Switch sides. Well, you'll end up getting about 3 to 5 each direction. Or try and expand the circle. Imagine there's like a whiteboard out in front of your toes. Your toes have markers on them, or are markers. Draw the biggest circle you can on that imaginary wall that's in front of your feet. Change direction if you have not. Nice and slow. Alright, they should be active. They should be kind of a fight every time. These are not meant to be like easy. They should be, I think of these as miniature little strength exercises. You gotta you have to push it. Okay, and then we're gonna go back to hands and knees for the shoulders, alright? So the shoulders, okay, remember the goal is above your head. You start by reaching behind your head without letting your head move and compensate. Then you go back out above your head, lift your arm to the ceiling without letting your chest rotate, but you start to rotate your arm in while you're going behind your back. You keep rotating it. You get fully extended, as rotated in as you can. Then your elbow bends and you try and reach up your back. Then you reverse. You extend back out high. You start to rotate that arm the other direction as you bring it high to the ceiling above your head. Once you get as high above your head as you can, you reach behind your head. Okay, nice and slow. Boom. Get about 3 on each side. Perfect. Good. Lift that arm to the ceiling. Pretend like you have something along the side of your body that you're trying to lift that arm up and over. Boom. Get 1 more each direction. Good morning. Hello. Good. You just go nice and slow through that shoulder car. Okay, always fighting for more. 1 inch per second. Switch sides. Okay, I'll show you from the front if you don't get it. So arm out in front. Reach behind your head. Arm back out. Lift it up towards that ceiling. Rotate it in as you're reaching for the ceiling. Fully extended. Bend that elbow to reach up your back. Go back out. And then up and around. Nice and slow. You should feel a little burn. Keep your support arm nice and strong. Don't let your head move as you're reaching your hand behind your head. Start to wrap that up. Get 1 more in. Good, and then stand up. Last one we're going to do after you get done is we're going to do the toes. Oh, hi, good morning. Do you need to get some coffee?
No.
You good?
Yeah.
All right, so the toes. So around the toes, start with all your feet or all your toes planted on the ground. Try and keep your outside 4 on each side down and just lift your big toes up in the air and hold that for 5 seconds. So your outside 4, stay down. Your big toe stand. Remember, this one's going to be weird. You might not be able to do this still, but just keep practicing and trying. Now switch, keep your big toes down and lift your outside 4 up. Actively push your big toe down, try and spread your outside 4 and lift them as high as you can. And then switch again. So big toes down, outside 4 down, big toes up. Good. Keep trying to pull for more. Switch. Remember, these are very important. They seem weird, but your big toe function, your foot control, your intrinsic foot muscles, crazy important for everything. Switch. All outside 4 down, big toes up. Yeah, it's hard, huh? Yeah, when I first started, I could barely like tremble my toes, and then it took me a long time. Now I can really actively move them. So now all of your toes up, and then just do your big toe down. So outside 4, stay up, big toes go down. Push into the ground, good, and then switch, so everything up, outside 4 down, big toes up. Get a couple more of these in. Good, switch again, so everything up, only big toes down. Right, it's hard, huh? Good, one more time, so outside 4 down. Big toes up. This is something you should work on if you can't do this all the time. Okay, it's very easy to do when you're sitting around. Just play with your toes, do it in the shower, whatever. Super important. If you have knee, hip, low back pain, this might be some small part of it, okay? So shake it out. Next thing we're going to do is just going to give you a couple more now we're just going to get a little moving some more activation drills. So you're going to do bird dogs for 5 on each side. Then you're going to do 15 total bridges. The first 5 are going to be with both legs. The second 5 are going to be single leg each side, so left and right. Okay, so bird dogs 5 a side, 5 bridges, 5 single leg bridges, left and right. Okay, then you're going to do a side plank for 20 seconds, and you're just going to hold that. Okay, you can go on your knees or your feet, and you're going to do that for 2 rounds. Okay, so let's get that in. It should just take a couple minutes. So first off, 5 bird dogs. So opposite arm and leg, go nice and slow. Just hold it for a second when you get out there. Try to not let your weight shift. Keep your abs tight on the front side. So get 5 a side. How'd you sleep? Good. Remember, locking those abs on the front side. They should be kind of crunched and engaged. Weight shouldn't be moving left or right. I lost count. I think I have 1 more each side. After your bird dogs, on your back. So 5 bridges with both legs, and then 5 single leg each side. Okay, so 15 total. Squeeze your buns at the top. You guys know the drill. Make sure you push through your heel. You shouldn't feel your lower back. If you do, squeeze your butt more or engage your abs more, or both. Good, then you're going to go 20-second side plank each side. All right, you can do that side plank leg raise that we did yesterday in the workout if you want, or just regular. So you can just stack your feet, get up on your side, hip stacked, shoulder stacked, arm either up in the air or on your hip. Okay, 20 seconds. Engage your abs on the front, just like a regular plank. Try and feel your glutes on the back side, just like a regular plank. Switch. After you get the first round in, you're going to go right back into it and do it again. It's going to be 5 bird dogs, 15 of total bridges, and your side plank. Squeeze and breathe on that side plank. Okay, so we're getting into the second round. Woohoo! Good job, team. Bird dogs. Remember, lock it in, abs tight, back leg low. 5 on each side. How's your hip today? Oh, sorry, I don't know. Okay, bridges. 15 total. 5 with both legs, 5 single leg each side. After your bridges, you have your side plank. Twenty seconds on each side. Great job. Way to go. Yeah, you can handle this. Gonna squeeze buns, engage abs on the side plank. Don't just hang out there. Switch sides. After you get your second round in, if you need to shake it out, get some water, get some coffee, do that, and then we'll just kind of keep rolling. All right. Cool. So you got a minute or so to shake it out, chill, and then we'll keep the mobility rolling. Do a few light stretches, full body, general movement stuff. Remember, today is going to be nothing crazy. If you want to do something later in the day or active, conditioning, hike, strength, remember, you're more than welcome to do that. You can treat this as a big, long warm-up, or don't be afraid to just do this today. Okay, I'm probably just going to repeat some of this stuff later today. If the weather clears up, maybe go on a walk, but otherwise, more of a recovery day before we lift again tomorrow. So for the first one, if you want a very light kettlebell or dumbbell, or even like a medicine ball, just something to weigh you down into like a deep squat, you can do that. I'd recommend no more than 20 pounds. It's not meant to make it harder when we do the exercise, and I'll show you in a second. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do like a little full body combination movement. Okay, so it's gonna be, we're gonna kind of combine the squat to stand movement with a deep squat, just kind of hanging for a little bit. Then we're gonna walk out into a push-up position and do a down dog, and then we're gonna walk back and kind of repeat it. So the first thing we would do is kind of 5 repetitions of the start of the toe touch squat to stand. So you grab your toes, pull yourself to the bottom, hang out for a second, and then keep holding on your toes, lift your butt up again, and just feel a stretch of your hamstrings. And we're just gonna go up and down 5 times. Okay, so try and keep your heels on the ground, keep your elbows inside your knees, only lift your butt up as high as you can until you feel a stretch, but hold on to your toes. If you don't feel enough of a hamstring stretch, try and keep your back more flat, and it'll help. Okay, so one more. And at the bottom, you're just gonna kind of hang out. Okay, so if you need to kind of take your hands off your toes, if you need to just kind of relax, try and hang out in that squat as deep as you can. Rock side to side. Try and keep your full foot connected to the ground so nothing pronating in. Just try and get comfortable and breathe. Yep, try and push your knees out. Yep, you can do what Claire's doing, rock that, get the hands in the middle, and you can almost like push together. Now you're gonna walk all the way out into a push-up position or like a hands and knees position, and then you're gonna do 5 down dogs. Okay, so just drive up, 5 down dogs. Feel free to play around if you know your own little variations. Okay, you can pedal your feet out. You can do single leg, anything you want to do, but you're just gonna get 5 of them over about 30 seconds. Or if you want to hold one long down dog for about 30 seconds, that's totally fine as well. But if you want to come back to push-up position, drop the hips, do a push-up, like I said, feel free to play around. Whatever this is called, down, up dog, I don't even know. Get about 1 more repetition in, or if you're holding, you got about 5 to 8 seconds. And then drop your knees down, sit your butt back right into child's pose. But then in child's pose, we're gonna do a little T-spine rotation. So arm as long as you can, but then put the other hand behind your head. And then rotate up towards that ceiling and do a little T-spine rotation. So one arm stays long. Yeah, so like the one where we put our leg out to the side to get the groin stretch in class, but we're just staying in child's pose. Get 5 on each side there. So one arm's long, hand behind your head. Kind of push into the ground with that straight arm just a little bit as you rotate. Try and rotate that chest towards the ceiling as much as you can. Good, now you're gonna get back into that deep squat. And we're gonna kind of repeat everything again. So grab your toes, lift your butt up in the air, get a little hamstring stretch, and then go back down. Okay, so hang out, play around for a second if you want to. Remember, try and keep your heels down. If you can't, spread your feet out a little bit or toes out a little bit. And then lift up again, get a little stretch, and then back down. 5 reps. Try and get your butt deeper towards your heels. Try and push your knees out with your elbows when you're in your squat. It's the best posture you can get at the bottom of the squat. We got 1 more here. And then you're gonna hang out. If you don't feel comfortable hanging out on the bottom of the squat, you can go into child's pose if you want to, or you can go to hands and knees, spread your knees out and just do little like hip openers or rock backs. Or if you need to hold onto a couch or a TRX or something, you can to support you to help you get down there. All right, back out to push-up position. You got 5 down dogs. We're gonna play around in the down dog, throwing a push-up, throwing a single leg. We're just gonna go for about 30 to 40 seconds. You can drop your hips and bring your chest up and open up the front side if you want to. Finish up the repetition that you're on. And then go back into that child's pose for a second. And then take 3 full inhales and exhales. after those 3 breaths, get on your backs. We're gonna do scap slides, the ones where we're on our backs, sliding those arms up to the ceilings. Okay, we're gonna do 5 reps there. Then you're gonna do 5 dead bugs on each side, so everything's gonna be on your back. So after the scap slides, you got 5 dead bugs on each side, if you can see. Then you're gonna go 5 Turkish get-ups to the elbow. So if you can see me, arms up on one side, that same side leg is bent. The other arm and leg are flat on the ground at a little bit of an angle off to the side. And they're just gonna roll up towards that straight leg and arm side, nice and tall in the forearm, and then just go back down. So that's gonna be 5 a side as well. Okay, so let's get 2 rounds of that, 5 of everything. First one is just the scap slides. So low back down, arms connected to the ground. Slide up the carpet. Keep everything into the ground. So suck those ribs down. Trying to actively push your arms into the floor. After your 5 there, you got dead bugs. So legs up at 90, arms up, low back on the ground, and then you got opposite arm and leg, just like a bird dog, we're just on the back. 5 a side. After your 5 side, 5 Turkish get-ups to the elbow on each side. So, arm up in the air, make a fist. That same leg is bent. Arm and leg off on the side, straight. Roll up to that elbow. Big chest, nice and strong in the arm. Slow down. 5 on each side. Think of it as like a diagonal crunch and roll over to that elbow. Not straight forward. If you can synchronize like we are, you get bonus points. After your 5, switch. Yep, so arm up and leg up. Same side, leg and arm flat on the ground. Roll over towards that straight arm and leg side. Use the bent leg to help push you over there. Yeah, if you initiate by pushing with that bent leg, it'll help you roll over towards that arm. Good. After your 5, you're back into the scap slides. We're going to do that one more time, 5 of everything. Make sure everything on your backside is connected to the ground on the slide. Wrists, hands, elbows, shoulders, everything. After those, you got dead bugs. After those, you got your Turkish get-ups up to the elbow. Arm and leg bent on the same side, arm and leg flat on the same side, roll to the flat side. Okay. Use the bent leg to help get you up there, to support it. Remember, you're not crunching straight up, you're rolling kind of more of a diagonal towards the straight arm and leg. One more. Switch sides, 5 aside, or go at your own pace. Just get 2 rounds in. All right, after you get that second round in, chill for a second. I need more coffee. You're in charge, Coach Claire.
This is our house. I need to get something to put over there. I really want to put hardwood floors in here instead of this carpet. Let me know what you think about that in the comments.
Any advice we'll take. Next up, we're going to do some shin box stuff. So set up in your shin box. If you want to start moving around a little bit in it, you're more than welcome to. Okay. So first thing, set up. You're going to set up in your shin box, and whichever side the legs are swung over to, you're going to turn your body towards that leg. Okay, so my legs, I guess you guys would be my right, but my legs are swung to my left, so I'm going to turn towards my left knee. Okay, put one hand on the shin and one hand outside of that knee. Okay, then you're just going to move your chest forward over that leg until you feel a stretch of the glute of that leg. Okay, so back flat, push your chest and your hips forward over that front knee and then come back up. And you're just going to go back and forth. If you don't feel a stretch of your glute enough, get your back a little bit more flat and kind of lift your tailbone in the air and push your knee into the ground, okay, a little bit. So as you push into the ground, come down and then up. And you're just going to go back and forth. Feel a stretch of the outside of that hip. You should feel a little stretch of the lateral side of the hip that we're going over. Feel a little stretch?
Mm-mm.
So now stay in that position. Okay, and you're going to take this back leg. You're going to keep the foot on the ground and you're just going to hinge and open up that leg like we were about to go shin box over to the other side, but you're going to keep your chest facing that knee and then you're just going to pry that leg open a little bit. It's probably not going to be very far. You're only going to pry as far open as you can keep your chest and your torso facing at that leg. So you don't want everything to follow open. All right. Keep your foot on the ground. If you need to play around with the position of that leg, as long as it's around that 90 degrees. Good. And you should feel a good stretch there, okay? Push into the ground with your front leg. Don't let it leave the ground. Keep your torso facing that front leg. Good. Now what you're going to do is keep your knee on the ground, rotate your thigh, lift your heel off or your foot off the ground of that back leg. So you probably can't see mine, but if you can see Claire's, she's keeping the knee down and then lifting that heel up. Okay, but she's thinking about moving from that thigh, boom, and you're just going to rep it up and down. Same thing, brace your core a little bit. Don't let your torso move around, so you got to have some tightness to you. Push the knee into the ground, rotate the thigh in. That is going to lift that heel up. You should feel your hip flexor working here. Try and fight for more every repetition. Good. Okay, now we're going to do everything. This is all that same stuff on the other side. So just a nice slow shin box over. Take your time. Set up on the other side. I'm going to reset just so you can see me. Now you're facing the inside, or now you're facing the knee of that other leg. One hand's on the shin, one hand's outside the knee, and you're just pushing your chest forward over that knee until you feel a stretch of the outside of that hip. Make sure you don't let your spine round. So it's not about just getting your chest down to the ground. You want to kind of move and hinge from your hips and think about pushing your chest like a foot over the knee instead of down at the ground. If you let your spine bend a bunch, you're not going to feel the stretch of your hip even though you're way down there. So I said, if you don't feel enough of a stretch, push the knee into the ground more, lift your tailbone up into the air, back and forth. Now you're going to stay facing, chest facing the leg. Now you're going to pry that back leg open. So our foot stays on the ground, chest stays facing the knee. And you're just going to pivot open without letting your torso rotate and your hips rotate with it. You might feel more limited on one side than the other, and that's pretty normal as well. Good. Yep. So you can see Claire, she's foot staying on the ground. That knee is lifting. She's trying to pry it open like we were going to go to the other side of the shin box. Now keep the knee on the ground and rotate that heel off the ground. All right, engage your abs so your torso doesn't move. You might feel a difference side to side, and that's okay, even if it's just a small lift. Good. Think about rolling from your thigh. Don't just think about the foot. Think about the thigh rotating in. That is going to lift that foot up off the ground. Get a couple more reps in there. You should feel your hip flexor working a little bit. Good. Now you're going to rotate back through the shin box just a couple times. So now just sit tall, go slow. When you start the shin box, think about that exercise we just did. So leg starts down, pry the hip open as long as you can, then move into the middle of the shin box, knees wide and over. So outside leg down, pry it open. You should feel like you are able to get a little bit more out of this after kind of playing around with those first couple exercises and loosening things up. Sit tall, big wide bear sit position in the middle before you go over. Good. Okay, so now you're going to get back to that little bear sit position, which is just like the middle of your shin box. So legs are about 90 degrees, toes are up, heels are on the ground. You might not be able to see. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you're good. Okay, so just kind of getting wide. You want to get as tall as you can, so kind of roll that pelvis forward, get up on your sit bones, spine as tall as possible. Okay, hands inside, holding the shins, elbows connected to your knees, and just spend some time trying to lightly push your knees down towards the ground. You should feel a stretch of your groin a little bit, so as long as you can stay tall and not flex your spine, keep lightly driving those knees to the floor. Good, just kind of breathe. Don't force anything right now. Good, so now stay in that position, and we are going to do what we're going to call infinity kind of hovers or swimmers. So it's like our two-arm shoulder cars. You're going to go opposite directions. So you're going to try to sit nice and tall in that bear sit position, and then go through that opposite arm and leg. So I'm going to quickly flip around so you can see me from behind. You're trying to gain good posture the whole time. Boom. One arm goes up the lower back, one arm goes down behind the head, and then you do it again. Try and fight your arms behind your body as far as you can the whole time, and try and sit with the best posture you can. It should be kind of challenging to maintain really good posture while you do this. Okay, nice and slow. Don't let that spine flex. Reach your arms to the back walls at all times. Try and really reach your arms back. Get one more rep in. And then relax. Good. Shake it out. Whew. Let's do a couple cat-cows just to kind of shake things out a little bit. That one should have been pretty hard just from like a posture standpoint. And if you were going slow, pushing the shoulders enough. How you feeling?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Keep going on those for a couple seconds. Let me see what's next up on the menu. Cool. Okay, so next up, if you have some bands to do some like pull apart work with, okay, grab some of those. And we're going to hit some shoulders, both some mobility and a little bit of kind of strength with the shoulders. There you go. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is over and backs. So you're going to grip your band pretty much as wide as you can to start. Okay, you can grip more narrow if you feel like you have good shoulder mobility, but start wide, and they're just gonna go just up and over. Okay, so try and keep your core tight, arms straight. Try to not let your arms like do like weird things like one high, one low to make it there. It should be smooth and even. If this is too challenging, don't use that, or if you feel pain, just do some shoulder circles for now and just get the shoulders warmed up. Okay, so now flip your palms up and do the same thing. So now it's going to be nice and slow, all the way out and around. Make sure there's no pain. If you feel like this is kind of easy, like you have good range of motion, your ribs aren't moving, your head's not moving, you can grip closer on the band if you want to. But as long as your arms stay straight, you don't have to do anything weird to kind of make it happen. Those arms should stay fluid and straight. Good, shake it out for a sec. Now we're going to do bent over pull aparts with our palms up. So if I was doing a pull apart right here, palms up, we're going to do that. We've been doing this a little bit throughout the week. You're going to do it in a hinge position. So like butt back in a deadlift, palms up, and then you're just going to pull that band apart, squeezing your shoulder blades. Okay, you're going to get 10 of them in. If being in this deadlift position is not comfortable, stand tall and just do 10 pull aparts standing up. Think about keeping your elbows straight, pinching your shoulder blades together, keeping the top of the shoulders away from your ears. Once you get 10 of them in, shake it out. Feel a burn? Whew. And then we're going to do no monies, just standing tall. So no monies, your palms are still up, but your elbows are by your side. And then you're just pulling that band apart, trying to pinch your shoulder blades. Okay? Keep your ribs down. Don't force it, okay? When you start to feel like you have gotten enough out of it and your hands can't go any farther apart, don't force it. Don't push your belly out. Don't let your ribs flare to make it look like you're going farther. Control the band on the way back in as well. And you're going to get 10 of those in. Okay, after that you can drop the band. Okay, so next up we're going to do, we're going to go back down and we're going to stretch out the hips and then get the T-spine going again, all right? So we're going to do the adductor rock backs. So, let me put this down. So we're going to do a few little things in that adductor rock back. So that's the one where starting all fours, get your leg out to the side. So let's start by just moving the hips back and forth and just getting a stretch. And the wider your knees and your knee and your foot are away from each other, the more of a stretch you're going to feel. Don't let your back round as you sit back. So if you can see my spine, I'm trying to keep it flat the whole time back and forth. So now as you go back and forth, as you go forward, okay, rotate that thigh forward and lift your heel off the ground, rolling your heel forward. And then as you sit back, lift your toes up, pivoting on your heel, and rotate your toes back. So forward, heel forward, backwards, toes back. Think about moving from your thigh as you go. So I'm thinking about rotating my thigh in as I come forward to lift the heel, rotating my thigh back to lift the toes as I sit back. Okay? Little extra stretch of the hips. Good, now sit just all the way back into a normal stretch, hand behind your head, T-spine rotations, 5 on each side. Or 5, and then we'll switch to the other side and go through the same little dealio. Good, so start on hands and knees. Leg goes out to the side, get as wide as you want, and just start by going back and forth, just feeling the stretch. Back flat. That knee and that foot as wide as you want. If you want more of a stretch, you can do like what Claire's doing. You can go down on your elbows and your forearms as long as you can keep your back flat and not let it round. And now start to roll, heel forward, and toes back. So as you come forward, rotate from the thigh, roll your heel forward, As you sit back, rotate the thigh back and the toes back. Don't force it. You shouldn't feel it pinching. You might feel it different side to side. Get about one more in, and then we'll get the T-spine rotation. So after you get one more, sit all the way back. Okay, if you want to go down on your elbow, once again, you can for these, and then do your T-spine rotations, or you can just do them as normal. 5 rotations. After you get your 5, shake it out. And then we are going to do a plank, okay? So we're going to go just a good 30-second regular plank. Not going to do the 2-minute one. We'll do that again next week. Just going to do a good 30-second one to get a little bit of abs. All right, so 30 seconds, regular, straight up plank. Okay, ready, set, go. Make sure you tuck your hips, feel your abs and your glutes, and breathe. Okay, and then we're going to go that little bear hover position and do some elbow taps. 5 aside in that little bear hover position. So hands and knees an inch off the ground, and then shoulder or elbow taps. So touch the opposite shoulder or elbow. Try to not let your weight shift. Keep those knees inch off the ground. 5 aside. Okay, I think that's all we got for today. So let's breathe it out. Sit in child's pose if you want, or go on your back. Let's breathe and then be done. A little movement for the day. So in through your nose, 3 to 4 seconds. Big long exhale. Drive all your air out. Don't stop till it's all gone. Take one more good breath. Finish that up. And then, like I said before, you can use this as your warm-up to go get a lift in, run, hike, Peloton, whatever you got. Or you can just call this it for the day. I would recommend still doing some movement later in the day, but if this hour was good, I definitely got a little sweat in. I don't know about you. It was good, but have a great Sunday. Miss you guys. Plan, now that we're a couple weeks into this, something I can challenge you with is, now you should have somewhat of a flow and a rhythm. So start to plan this week out like it was a normal week. When are you going to work out? What are your meals going to be like? Plan it out. If you just guess when you're going to work out every day, motivation's going to run away real quick. If you plan it out just like you would a normal work week, you're going to make it happen. Okay? I'll be here Monday through Friday at 6:30. So if you want to join me, you definitely can, or just do it later in the day. Have a good day.